Hello and welcome back to Celebrity Big Brother Breakdown. We had the launch last night, a live launch, and wow, it delivered. I was really impressed with all the chaos. I think that's what we wanted and we got it.
Yeah, I completely agree. But most importantly, what we've both clearly taken from the live launch is the power of a red lip. So we're both Ekin-Suing today.
I want to Ekin-Su every day. She's just, I think, you know how on Cracking On with the Sun, our Love Island podcast,
Yeah.
I was talking about Georgia Harrison and how she kind of carried herself. I think I'm going to move that love onto Ekin-Su. I can tell already, but we'll talk about her a little bit later on.
We'll give her a whole section of the podcast later.
We've got some famous faces joining us today. We've got, you sometimes this word gets thrown about a little bit too easily, but I would say legend, a Big Brother legend. Ooh. Aisleyne. Do you remember her? Aisleyne Horgan-Wallace.
You better know yourself, little girl.
Exactly that. Yeah. Well done. Mm-hmm. Your impressions.
That was a bad one.
Already. No,
that was a bit American.
I haven't got over the Julie one yesterday. That's just still like replaying in my mind. So we've got Aisleyne and we've got Jemma Lucy as well on to talk about, the housemates, what they think about them, their reactions, but predictions. So yeah. We'll stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that, because that will be good. They don't hold back, do they? And that's what we love.
Exactly.
So obviously last night, they were straight in there with the twist, weren't they? So we'd speculated as to what sort of the launch night challenge would be. And there was no holds barred, were there? They were straight in, and it was Louie and Sharon in the little bed sit, having to judge people.
Oh, it was just, it's my kind of idea of a dream. I would absolutely love to. It's kind of what we're doing now, really. Sat in a secret little room and we're just judging others.
We haven't got the budget for the little cards to move around.
We should have that.
And a ring of fire.
I think that whole thing, we've got to sort of mention the fact that Louie gave away the fact that he knew that Sharon was going to be in there. It was all just very messy. I think the whole way that they went in, they were confused by 99% of what was happening.
Do you know, I was going to say that was my kind of word that summed it up. From Louie and Sharon, they just seemed a bit confused. But I loved that.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays we live in an era when everybody pretty much knows what they're getting when they're going on a reality show. They know the rules of the show. They know how it works. They know how to portray themselves. Sharon and Louie just went in there and were like, what do you want us to do? Oh, we're in here. No, they're not meant to know you're in there. And I just love that, because I think we can pretty much guarantee from Sharon and Louie, we're going to get pure Sharon and Louie.
Yes.
We're not going to get any game playing or fakery. This is pure balls to the wall.
Maybe a little too much. I fear that they're going to be cancelled. I just think the two of them are sort of so cosy with each other.
Yeah.
They obviously get on so well.
Yeah.
They're very comfortable, and they slipped into that kind of friends chatting very quickly. And I thought, oh my God. They delivered some killer lines to their fellow housemates. Talking about Colson Smith's ears, talking about... I think it was something about David Potts and his size. There were so many little digs at people throughout, or he's going to be a bit too much, or oh my goodness. And it's absolutely brilliant for us, and that's what I love about it, because we're going to just enjoy every second. But they could push it a little bit too far, perhaps. This is not to be ageist at all, but I just want to sort of highlight the fact that there are 142 years with their ages combined. Quick maths from me.
That wasn't quick maths.
No, it wasn't. I have to do a calculation.
Did you prepare for today's podcast?
Amanda? Can you not tell? So I think the two of them, they bring in that wealth of reality TV star experience, but without sort of the just disingenuousness that we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
They're coming in and just being like, oh, do you know what? Take me or leave me. And that's why they are complete comedy gold.
What I think will be a really good barometer of how ITV are going to attack this Big Brother is their deployment of the bird sound. So, famously Big Brother plays the bird noises over any conversations which are controversial or
yes,
can't
I hate
be aired.
it. I absolutely hate it.
We all hate it. And I will be interested to see if they look back at last night, potentially, like you say, the Sharon and Louie-isms, and there starts to be a little bit more bit more birds here, a bit more birds there, and then by the end it will be like a scene from the Birds movie where it's just birds.
No, I think it'll be, I think watching them in between the breaks when they sort of were meant to be judging, and then it went back to the hosts AJ and Will, and they were like, oh, okay, they've not said anything.
They're just from a different era,
so
aren't they?
Just sort of, they were just choosing when they wanted to deliver, and that kind of, that status of theirs, that's what I want them to maintain. I want them to just do exactly what they want, and do it when it suits them.
I was completely unsurprised by the people that they chose.
Yeah. Although there was a bit of a kind of last minute switch around, wasn't there?
Yeah, where Sharon wanted Coulson and Louis said, let's do Zizi.
I was like, no, Sharon, no.
Yeah.
Coulson's so lovely.
Yeah. I do see Louis' point that he sort of was fading a little bit into the background. But you need those characters, don't you? Who would you have chosen?
I'd have gone for, I agreed actually primarily with them. I would definitely have gone for David Potts. I mean, he was really acting up. I think, shock? What is in that?
No, I
what
should probably just say it's just water. In the kitchen here at Celebrity Big Brother Breakdown Towers, they had this really awful mug or this Prosecco glass, and I thought this said more CBB. I'm so sorry, Amanda,
That's so
for not
good.
preparing.
I wish that you got me on, because now I just look like the granny. I'm sorry, but you've got the granny knitwear on. It should be maybe that way around.
Sorry, I'm so glam.
So back to this. I genuinely do think that they made really good decisions. I think David Potts, he was just acting up a little bit too much. It was quite intense.
I think that putting him in the firing line as well will bring out really fun TV. So I think it's a good editorial
absolutely
decision.
Fuming about it. He really will, and he's not going to hold back.
Yeah.
He won't care. I also agree with Gary, because I think he just seemed sort of so out there. I don't know. It was like he's eccentric, obviously, which is fine, but it was more just a bit like. There was a bit of a superiority about him. Did you feel like that?
I think it probably came from the fact that he feels a bit like a fraud.
Yeah, but
like
he is
a bit like
he's not famous.
No.
He's famous for being related to someone and hasn't done anything. So yeah, he was kind of saying, well, I'm going to have to show off a little bit here. I just didn't think it came across very well. The only one I disagree with is probably Zizi. I think I'd have gone for Lauren instead. I'm maybe basing that more on the VT that was played. And her, did you see that moment with her daughter? How awkward that was. So she was basically she's talking about sex the whole time, and then her daughter just looked absolutely fuming from the crowd. And I thought, oh, she's kind of, they're making a bit of fun of it. No, that was a genuine anger emotion. We've spoken to all of our, the body language experts we had on. We'll have some people on during this series coming up, and I've learned a lot from them, and they would back me with this.
You know.
Oh my gosh!
Did your daughter just say no sex?
No sex. What home?
Boo! Rules.
The only one that I'd throw into the mix is Bradley. So he's the young lad from Heartstopper. Now, he's obviously very much there as the teen heartthrob. They need to tick those boxes and make sure they're bringing in that younger audience. But I worry that he is going to get lost very quickly. He doesn't have a fan base. Let's not forget it's Vote to Save. And he is going to have to start delivering quite quickly, I think, to stay in.
Absolutely. We haven't... it's obviously incredibly diverse cast, and I think it's brilliant, but it does lack, for me personally, a really hot straight male who could be teaming up with Ekin-Su, no less. I just think that was maybe quite obvious that was lacking. There wasn't any sort of chemistry. Everyone was quite flamboyant. I mean, Nikita with his outfit. He is straight, but that outfit was giving, wasn't it? He was wow.
I know what you mean. Maybe they don't want to lean into that trope though this year.
To do the kind of showmansy things. Although that's what the civilian. That's what the whole Civilian series was about. Was the gay couple, and we loved that, and the love triangle. I mean, that was incredible.
Amanda, I've just got to stop you there when you're saying that there's no sexy hunks, because did you see Will Best delivering?
He never lets us down.
Oh my god! So the promo video, if you've not seen it, let's treat ourselves to a quick play in a second. But he did the Saltburn naked dance to Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
If you've missed this, then where have you been?
Oh my God, Will Best. I don't want to embarrass myself here, but hunky. He has got all the muscles. It was just brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh, he's so much fun. He's such a nice guy. And I think he just comes across like him and AJ are just proper fans, and they want to throw everything into this and just make it the best series ever. And he literally just took off all his clothes, showed us his birthday suit, and we all loved it.
Let's go. But did you also hear, as well as obviously being fabulous in the flesh, Will had his own 999 drama just before the launch.
Oh my goodness, it wouldn't have been the same if Will hadn't been able to be there.
Yeah, so we have got a bit more on that, which we'll be revealing later in tomorrow's paper and online. So stay tuned for that as to what actually went on behind the scenes. So check that out when you can. But I just think they're such a great combo, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I mean, AJ... that body of hers, she looked insane.
I know. She learnt the lessons from the wake of last time with the wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, I wonder if there were any wardrobe malfunctions that we didn't see.
Ooh,
we
we'll
need to find out. Detective
Devlin
on the case.
Yeah. So what else did you spot? Tell me what else you loved about it.
I think I loved that there's like obviously going to be loads of arguments. I think that's an obvious first impression of the series. The cast is brilliant. They've got huge characters.
Yeah.
To the point where someone like Coulson Smith, who's obviously, you know, he's been around in showbiz since he was 13. He was on Coronation Street. So he's not shy. He's been around big names for his whole life. But for him to seem like he's fading into the background, you know, it shows you that there's huge people in there.
Yeah.
And I just think they're going to be... They were actually physically screaming for the attention last night. You know, David Potts is sort of really trying it on. It was making the Netflix guy, I've even forgotten, Bradley. He was kind of just... I don't know, he disappeared when he went in there. Defo. I feel like we lost him.
I agree.
But... Louie and Sharon, for me, having that to sort of separate the chaos, it was like the I was going to say the grandparents, but the parents sort of sat there watching on and judging. But I think they're not going to be able to hold back. If they get tired, hungry, annoyed, they're really going to go for it with the younger ones.
Or did you spot that Sharon has got her own bedroom?
Ooh.
So another thing that she gave the game away and that we love from them is she kept referring to when I go to my room. So another little luxurious clause in Mrs. O's contract. Love that for her.
But she is the queen, and whatever she wants to do, she can do.
So I think this would be a really good time to hear what Aisleyne and Jemma think of the cast, because they would know what it's like trying to, you know, hold your own space within that house of braying fame seekers. She said it. So should we hear from the girls?
Let's do it.
I don't think there's going to be any hookups or any romance because, sorry, who is there for who? Who? Ekin-Su, absolutely beautiful, but there's no young single men or old single men or straight single men, so there's going to be no hookups for her. I don't know who else. Louis Walsh and who? I don't know. I'm saying nothing. I've met David, very nice, very, very loud, might be slightly annoying to live with, I'm not gonna lie, and he lives by his name, Pot. He's got a potty mouth, so he might be a bit annoying for some of the older housemates. They might find him a little bit too loud and potty mouthed. I think this year the budget went on Sharon Osbourne because half of them people I've never heard of. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Who are they? I don't blame Sharon Osbourne for only going in for a week for the money because she's an icon. She's high money. That wage check needs to be high if you've got her name on something. So I don't blame her. They must have paid an absolute fortune just for the week. I went in for a week and I made sure that they put some respect on my check. So I'm sure she did the same. I love Fern Britton and I love Louis Walsh. I love that they're older. I love that they're legends in their own right. I love that they've got so much showbiz gossip that I'm hoping that they're going to drop in the house. I really hope that Fern Britton spills the beans on what happened on This Morning on ITV with Phil. That is going to be a shocker, I reckon. I really hope that they get her drunk and she just tells the truth about everything. The only thing that I'm worried about is ITV maybe cutting things out and making it a little bit too prim and proper. Like, I want to see the raw truth of everyone and all of their warts and all of the gory stories, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see if that's what's going to happen now that it's on ITV. I can't believe that Kate Middleton's uncle is going on the show. I mean, what? Is it a master plan? Is it genius? Are the royal family all in on it? Is it a plan to make them seem sort of like more street credible, a bit more down with the mere mortals? Or is he just a black sheep and he's going to spill all the beans on the royal family gossip? I don't know. I'm here for it either way. I'm really here for it. I can't wait. I think he's my favourite person. I don't know who he is, never heard of him, but he's my favourite one that I'm going to be watching. I can't wait.
I love Sharon Osbourne. She says what she thinks. She's cool. I would just love to have a mum like that. I feel like she kind of stays with the times. She doesn't stay stuck back in whenever she was born or her era. She just kind of moves with the times. She's just super cool and seems fairly understanding to her children, which I don't have that. So I love seeing that.
Who do you think is most likely to kind of have a breakdown and war?
I don't know. I think people like Sharon and Fern seem to be pretty strong characters and pretty... I think it'll be more someone like Levi who may walk out because he's probably not used to the dramas of the industry. He's used to, he went on Dragon's Den, he had a very successful product. He's now got rich off that. He's not been in the press, been slammed, had... drugs around his name and all that stuff that all these other, not everyone, but a lot of these other celebrities have dealt with hard press and have had to build quite a thick skin. And I know that's different to living conditions, but I do think that sort of thick skin helps with that. And I think someone like him might not like all of the drama and the stuff that comes with being in a house full of all these different people. So I think a more chilled person is more likely to leave than a strong person.
Oh, another thing did you spot on the live feed, I'm sure you have, is quickly, actually, Ekin started to really open up and I think showed a really different side to herself.
It was, so she's having a conversation with Fern. If you haven't seen it, it means that it was, you didn't stay up like a kind of crazy person. Like, we all are crazy fans of watching them after hours, and you can see them maybe sleeping, but no, they were all up there, all the adrenaline was pumping, wasn't it? And she was having a conversation with Fern Britton and she quickly got so emotional, didn't she?
Yeah, she really did. And I think this is what's going to be really interesting about Ekin, potentially, particularly, is, Love Island Ekin was vamp drama queen. That's what we got from Ekin. We didn't really get much emotion from her, and if we did, it was anger and fieriness. And rapidly we're seeing that she is this layered person who has feelings. And she talked about how sometimes she gets home from her personal appearances and she cries because she feels so alone. And as we said yesterday, actually, Fern Britton, perfect woman for that because she's a journalist. She knows how to pull these things out of people.
Yes.
And actually on tonight's show, spoiler alert,
yay,
we're going to hear more from Ekin. She also opens up to a couple of the other older housemates about things. So it sort of builds on that situation with Fern. And I think that Ekin actually is going to end up gravitating more towards the older housemates.
She's an older soul. I think she's been here before. She's got that wise nature about her, hasn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be cynical, but I like to sort of just, play
Balance.
devil's advocate.
Yeah.
That she's launched into this pretty quickly. She knows that she doesn't have time. They're aware that there's going to be 2 evictions a week. They're on, very limited time in there. They've got to make their play of what kind of character they want to be perceived as, how much airtime they're getting, etc. I think with Ekin, before she'd even entered the house, standing there with Will and AJ, there she was making a dig at her ex Davide from Love Island, saying, what do you look for in someone? She went, loyal. Basically insinuating that he perhaps hasn't been very loyal, allegedly. And she's then kind of gone straight from that comment into a conversation with the older housemates and showing off her sort of vulnerable side and appearing to suggest that, she has been really alone, maybe even in a relationship.
Yeah.
It could perhaps be perceived that she's looking to get a little bit of sympathy or show off a different side of herself or show off a different side to Davide that maybe hasn't been out there as much. And I think absolutely warranted, and I think it's probably genuine from her, but I do think the gameplay is more about the timing of it. She's gone in there to think, right, I'm ready to open up, because it's very quick. As soon as I saw the clip, I thought, right, that's intense.
Yeah, fair. To counter, because we love a good. Did you not think the point where she heard the camera whir that we sometimes hear and zoom in on her, and she went, "Oh God, the camera." And to me, that was, oh God, it felt very real.
Do you think?
And not contrived. But time will tell.
I thought she was just like, I'm ready for my close-up, hun.
Oh my God, she's being a mean girl.
No, I'm not, because I'm obsessed with Ekin-Su. You know how much I love her. She's my absolute favourite. And this is now the Ekin fan club.
But you know what I think? Crucially on this situation is what we know about the Celebrity Big Brother house is it tears down the walls, and very quickly someone that is got a game plan, or faking something, or trying to push an agenda, or deliver a certain version of themselves, they can't keep it up for long. So if that might be the case, and I agree it does feel quite early to open up, but we'll see. Time will tell.
No, I think it was just too early. It just felt a little bit set up, but everything else about her I loved. I loved the digs, I loved her outfit. She looked beautiful. It was very Marilyn Monroe kind of vibes when she went in there, and she just looked, it was her red lip, her darker hair. She can go in there with her head held high because she's smashing it post Davide.
I want to talk to you about my theory that you and Sharon Osbourne are the same person. You ready? So, you know how you're always obsessed with people wearing tiny pants?
Where has this come from? I mentioned it once yesterday.
Clare. You didn't shut up about Tom Clare.
Oh my God, that's true.
Back on Love Island.
Twice in my whole life, but okay, fine.
Anyway, so Sharon Osbourne also could not move past David Potts and his tiny pants. That part where she was like, his fruit and veg are just hanging down at the front.
I've got to agree with.
And she said, why? And Louis said, why are you so obsessed with these pants?
But when it's right there in front of you, literally dangling, it's quite hard to not be focused on it.
That's what she said. Quite literally. So anyway, let's watch that space, because I think that,
Is that the only similarity?
Yeah, basically.
Do you want me to dye my hair red?
Well, you're both fabulous as well. The other thing that I really enjoyed was Levi Roots, obviously.
Yeah.
We know him for his sauce, and he was not afraid to remind us that we know him of his sauce.
But I think he needs to, because I think the younger generation probably don't know. I don't know if I'm...
No.
I was kind of just completely oblivious to him. I've totally erased him from my life. I don't know why.
I know, but to me that's much more contrived than, for example...
No, but that's more obviously having a laugh. I think you're not doing that as like a subtle trying to
gameplay.
Wait. This is just like really owning your...
Part 2.
Plug, what?
Of my Levi Roots. All right, we know, mate, you've got a restaurant and a sauce. He, on the live feed as well, spotted that he opened up about how COVID has affected his restaurant business, which obviously is like a super, important conversation to have. But it just reminded me that there's always going to be some people who are in there because they think it's a business decision. And I'll be interested to see if he does let us see a bit more of who he is beyond just someone who has reggae sauce.
Yeah, I really hope that he is a decent signing, because I'm sorry, that house is... The places in that house, it's like gold dust. You can imagine that every single person who got the call for this show said yes, absolutely yes. And then they negotiated their fee up. But it was a yes from the off, because it's the big ITV reboot. We're all watching it. The advertising has been insane around it, hasn't it? I can't wait to see the figures. I don't think we've got them yet, but we need to...
We've got them.
What were they?
3.5.
Okay.
3.5 million as an overnight.
But then that's going to go up because not everyone's sitting to watch it at that time.
So more and more this kind of show, so we know this from I'm a Celebrity as well as Love Island, are watch the next morning, watch it on your commute, watch it on your lunch break.
Yeah.
So usually these shows, what we're finding, I've got my TV editor hat here on, we're adding at least 2 million, if not 3 million, once you've got those 7-day consolidated figures. So I think, to be honest, ITV will be looking at that launch figure and thinking, we would have liked a bit more. But, you know, I think it's one of those where potentially these big storylines will emerge and people will start getting involved. We saw it with Civilian Big Brother as well. Obviously, that grew and grew and grew as people started to hear about the love triangle and saw the funny clips online.
And also, I think that the people who perhaps they knew who was going on, they are big names. Most of them are big names. And perhaps the launch night wasn't something they wanted to sit through the 90 minutes of.
Yeah.
And then more keen to just dive into the action.
I always hate launch nights.
Yeah.
I find them quite tiresome.
It was a good launch night.
Yeah.
Because there was, I think, just Sharon and Louie saved it. If they hadn't been there, it would have been just too drawn out and boring. But yeah, so I think going back to Levi Roots, I think he's taken up a place in there, and I don't want it just to be someone off of Dragon's Den from ages ago who's not going to bring anything. I need him to be entertaining, and doing all of that stuff, funny stuff with his sauce and singing, and I think that showed that he's obviously got a really good personality. So I hope to see lots more from him.
Yeah, well, I'm on the fence, but we'll see.
Okay. You're hard to please, you know.
I know, and also one more point from me. Talking about, again, people plugging their wares. Oh my God, Marisha can sing, can't she? Wow.
I think AJ and Will were like, we've got to go now to a break.
We need Hal here for more vocals. God, amazing. I hope that she sings all the time because we're all going to get a front row seat to a Broadway show.
That is really going to get in people's nerves, isn't it? Imagine like first thing in the morning, she's belting that out. But she's incredible.
That's what it's like working with Hal. That's not true. Fake news. Oh God.
Any predictions for romances in the house? Any predictions for like proper feuds? You know, people really disliking each other.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some really obvious touch points. Like people are definitely going to get annoyed at David. I think there are going to be people that just aren't going to wash up or cook. The classic.
I did love hearing about Sharon and Louie sort of, you know, I'm good at takeaways. I'm like, what, ordering a takeaway?
It's giving university student. I can make a cup of tea and order a takeaway. And then Mrs. O, I can do a good baked potato. Yeah. 4 minutes start. Brilliant, I know. So look, that's what Big Brother's so good for, though, isn't it? Like we're gonna get these moments of like opening up about career lows, you know, maybe some juicy revelations, but we're also just gonna get people that we'd never imagined talking about baked potatoes, and I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Well, can't wait for to actually like delve into them as people see more about Ekin-Su and her emotional story and everything else coming up this week.
I know. So we'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m, and we'll see you then. Or should we say, good morning? That's a niche Sharon Osbourne reference. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.